you. So, Senior Assembly, class of 2025, please click. Okay, this is the senior class Google Classroom. This is essential for the seniors to join. This is the code. Everything related to the college application process, to sending transcripts, for example, from College Now to the college that your child goes to, stuff having to do with yearbook, things having to do with prom and senior events and senior dues, graduation, everything related to senior year is on this Google Classroom. Students are allowed to join with their NYC students email. Parents cannot join. It's basically restricted to the NYC students email. Okay, we are of course simultaneously emailing all this information out, blasting it all out via Remind, but students also need to be proactive and take control of this as well. Okay, please click. Okay, this is the senior class Remind, so that you can join. Parents, you're going to be able to join this one. This is just so that you get like text blasts when there's something important coming up with senior dues or senior events. Okay, next. All right, these are the important dates to keep in mind for senior year. I'm not going to go through this. You're going to get these slides, so you're going to be able to go back in and take a good look yourself. Okay, but these are some of the important dates, and a few of them are to be determined still. For example, the senior trip, and we're still waiting on confirmation of the date for graduation. Okay, go right ahead. Okay, and this is coming up, the senior versus faculty basketball game. Okay, continue. And some information regarding senior dues. So you get the early bird discount if you pay before December 31st, January 1st. So students take care of this in the senior store. They can also go to this website, and the contract that needs to be printed out, it's available on the Google Classroom with step-by-step instructions. And there's also copies available at the senior store as well. Okay. Okay, so information about the prom, at least we have the date for that, and some information about when to pay. Again, we are sending these out, so I'm not going to sit here and read these to you. Okay, go ahead. All right, please keep going. Okay, so here's my contact information in the college office. All right, so my email is there, my school text number is there. I will read and respond to emails and texts during the school day only. So if a student emails me at 5:52 in the morning, I'm not going to see it. If you contact me at 12 o'clock at night, I'm not going to see it. I won't see it until I come into the office, open up my phone, my work phone, open up my email. That's when I will be able to read and respond. I have drop-in periods during first and fifth. Any student can come and see me during first and fifth with questions. They will need to get a pass from their teacher first before coming to see me. We will not write you a pass back to class. I still have senior appointments available. These are for students who did not see me last year. So they did not see me in the spring for an appointment. They can go ahead and make this appointment. If they go on that link right there, the bit.ly college appointment link, they're going to be able to fill out the college survey on there, and then they're going to see my calendar pop up when they're completed with that. If a student already saw me for an appointment, or if they missed their appointment, they can come and talk to me, like I said, during first and fifth period. If those times are not good for the students, they can come in a different period and talk to my staff. My staff has been with me for years, and in some cases, decades. So they know the answers to a ton of your questions. And if they don't know the answer, they're going to check with me, and I'll be able to provide the answer. Parents, you can make an appointment to chat with me over the phone, limited, but in person. And that's my link for that calendar. Okay, go ahead. All right, this is something I showed the students today. Many of them are kind of still in this mode. Okay, keep going. A lot of them are still deep into this, okay? And I told them that the first thing they need to do, make sure that they can log into Naviance. This is a website that our school has been using since 2012 to help the students research colleges. They're able to research scholarships, look up financial aid, And what they need to do is, if they have never logged on or if it's been a while, when they get to this part of the screen, they're going to click on Forgot Password and use their NYC student's email to get a reset. If they're having trouble with that, can you go back a second, please? If they're having trouble with that, I would suggest updating the browser on the computer that they're using. So you do that by going into the internet settings, clear your cache and cookies, restart the device, and then open up the website again. That's what I usually do when my Chromebook is glitching, and it tends to work most of the time. If they have any problems with this, of course, they can come into the college office, and my staff can assist them with getting onto Naviance. Okay, go ahead. So I told seniors that the first thing that they should be doing, if they haven't done this already, is to start to gather and organize info related to colleges. Okay, go ahead. So they need to create a list of colleges that includes CUNYs. You can keep clicking. And actually, if they go into Naviance and they go to colleges I'm thinking about, they'll see a bunch of CUNYs that I suggested for them. I did this for every single senior in the senior class. They can look at that list and they'll see colleges that I recommended for them based on their grades. These are colleges that they could get into, CUNYs that they could get into. Okay, go ahead. They could think about looking at some private schools. It's okay if they don't want to, but they could start to look at some. So private schools tend to be a lot pricier than the CUNYs. CUNYs do tend to be the most affordable options for my students. Over half the senior class does end up enrolling at a CUNY because it is about $7,000 a year. And that's without financial aid. It's about $7,000 a year. And for many of my students, it means that with financial aid, it ends up being free or almost free for them to attend a CUNY. However, a lot of my students will also apply to private schools, and sometimes the scholarships work out well enough that it ends up being affordable for them to attend private schools. Okay, keep going. All right, they could look at some out-of-state schools. These are some popular options that I've seen students do. Rutgers, Penn State, UConn, right? University of Florida. The thing though to remember, can you go back a second, please? The thing to remember about out-of-state schools is that you will be charged out-of-state tuition. It does not matter that grandma has a house in Florida. Does not matter that you have a second home in Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter that your parents were divorced and dad lives in New Jersey. The colleges will see that you live in Staten Island because it's on your transcript. So you will get charged out-of-state tuition that first year. You can establish residency by registering to vote in that new state. You can get your driver's license or your state-issued ID in a new state. And then the date from the driver's license or the state ID, the date that's on there, that's what they gauge the residency by. So it'll be like one whole calendar year past the date that you got that new ID. Okay, and then because colleges are pretty stringent about how they establish state residency. And if you have further questions about that, I would suggest that you speak directly to the admissions office of the college that you're looking at. Okay, keep going. Now, I do recommend, though, that if students want to dorm, if they want to go away to school, they must add some SUNYs on their list. SUNYs tend to be way more affordable than out-of-state publics and privates for my students. SUNY without financial aid costs about $26,000 a year. And that's tuition. Can you go back? Tuition, room and board, and fees. Okay, so they cost around $27,000 a year. Compare that with $43,000 a year at Penn State. Compare that with $50,000 a year at Wagner College, and that's without room and board. So it is important to have some SUNYs on the list if you're thinking about going away to school. Okay, next. So these are the things that I think students should be checking for as they assemble the information about their colleges. This sounds so simple, but honestly, do schools have the major? What are the requirements for that major? So I've had students come to me and say, oh, I really want to go to University at Albany. I want to study nursing there. And I'm like, that's great. They don't have nursing. So this is a very easy thing to check. You just go on the college's website, or you can go on Naviance and see if they have that major. You're checking to see if your grades and your coursework match the school's requirements. If you're not too happy with your SAT score, you're checking to see if those schools are test optional. Is there a special deadline for your major? And is the college visiting us? Okay, next. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you look this information up on Naviance. So this, for example, is me looking up Binghamton University. You can see the next deadline is the early action deadline of November 1st. You can see that it usually costs $50 to apply to the school. The acceptance rate is pretty low, it's 39%. And the important policies. So this is where you're going to see if it's test optional or not. Okay, and I can save you some time. Basically, all the SUNYs are test optional this year. All the CUNYs are test optional this year. And yes, that includes the honor programs within the CUNYs and the SUNYs. Okay, keep going. Okay, if you scroll down on the admissions tab on Naviance for that school, you will see the recommended courses. So you can see if you have the required number of classes. And so required is what you need, like the bare minimum. Recommended is what they prefer. So that makes you a really viable candidate. So for example, if you only have 2 years of math as a senior, you applying to Binghamton is probably not a great idea because you're really under what they are looking for. Okay, keep going. And you can also see what our school's application history is at this specific college. So you can see that last year, 2024, way more kids applied. And that was because that was the first time SUNY held a fee waiver week where 5 schools were free for kids to apply to. So a lot more kids applied to SUNYs than ever before. We had plenty of kids were accepted, but you can see only a handful ended up enrolling. And that a large part of that has to do with the financial aid package. And also if some of those kids who were accepted ended up going to different schools. Okay, next. Okay, and you can do an even deeper dive by going down to the scattergrams. And this is where you can see your grades versus the kids who got in and the kids who were denied. Okay, keep going. All right, so if you want to sign up for a college visit, and we have colleges, like 2 or 3 colleges visiting us every single day. You can look at the what's new part of the homepage, but you can also click on the colleges tab and then go to visits and you'll see the whole display. Okay, next. There, this is what it looks like when you see the whole list of colleges. And this is where you can register for the visit. So students do need to register for the visit, even if they're already done for the day. We need to know who's in that room. So that if there's an emergency and we need, oh, can you go back? If there's an emergency and we need to find where you are in the building, we're able to say, okay, this kid is in this particular room. If you see that a visit is full, don't despair, just ask to be put on the wait list. Come to the college office, ask the staff to put you on the wait list. You can also shoot me an email or a text. I can try to put you on the wait list as well, okay? Usually it ends up working out. Go ahead. So, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, can you go back a second? No, back. One more. Not forward, back. There we go. Okay, I'm so sorry. Thank you. I just wanted to mention the college visits, they're not mandatory, but they're really, really helpful. If you want to find out more about a specific program at a college, if you have questions about how the financial aid works at a college, if you want to know how you can become a better candidate for that college, these are great things to go to, because the people who the representatives from the college who come to the visit, they are the people usually who read applications for our area. So for example, today, I had the representative, the Staten Island representative for Barnard College, which is where I went to school. She came, she talked with a handful of students who were interested in Barnard, and she actually went through the writing supplement questions for Barnard and was able to go really in depth and give some amazing advice about how those girls could become excellent candidates for that college. And this is a very competitive school. So it really gave them a leg up on everyone else who's applying to the school. Often too, the college representatives will will give you fee waiver codes. So it is a nice thing to go to these visits and get to know the people who are actually making decisions about you. Okay, go ahead. All right, so this is really important. Every year I get parents who think they're being helpful by doing the applications for their students. I'm gonna ask you to stop because we can really delay the applications when we put incorrect information into the applications. And you'd be surprised how often parents will make some mistakes on those applications. So what we are doing is this year, this is the first year that CUNY is doing this. CUNY is giving us a whole chunk of time, a couple of weeks, where it is free to apply to CUNY. So between October 21st and November 15th. This includes applying to Macaulay Honors. So I would suggest if you are working on your CUNY application right now, do not hit submit, okay? I want you to be able to do the application for free so it does not cost you $65, all right? So this is for everyone regardless of income. You do need to apply to all of your CUNYs at the same time. So you're not doing a separate application for Hunter and a separate application for Brooklyn and a separate one for CSI and a separate one for Macaulay Honors. Everything goes on one CUNY application. You will be able to upload your essay and your resume after you submit the CUNY application. This only applies to CUNY, okay? Teacher recommendations will be sent after you hit submit. Now, we are gonna visit every senior government class. We're gonna go to the senior government classes, the AP government classes, myself and my staff. We are gonna walk the seniors through applying. So if you've already started the application at home, you would bring your login information with you and open it up for us there. We are gonna go over the application and make sure it is correct before we hit submit. And that way you are not gonna be delayed when they're processing your application. Now, SUNY is also offering some free application weeks as well. So that's between October 21st and November 3rd. We're not going to be doing this one in the government classes. We're just doing the CUNYs in the government classes. So if a student needs assistance doing the SUNY application, they can always stop by the office and use our desktop computers. I would recommend that they do this when they are free, okay? Because again, we're not going to write them a pass. So it is easiest to apply during the free applications week. It is easiest to apply using the SUNY website rather than Common App. When you do the SUNY application on Common App, it gets a little complicated and difficult to find the fee waiver option for this. So I really would recommend that you, if you're going to take advantage of the free SUNY weeks, do them on the SUNY website rather than Common App. You will need to have your college essay available when you submit. And again, teacher recommendations will be sent after submission. Okay, next. Okay, so you may get emails about direct admissions, and every year I get questions about this. So direct admissions is when a college emails you or messages you and says, hey, we think you're a great candidate for our school. We are offering you admission. This is a way for them to increase the number of people applying to their school, basically. So that's a bonus for them because it does boost their enrollment numbers. It's not a scam though. So if it is a school that you're interested in, it might be a nice thing for you. This year, SUNY is offering direct admission. Go ahead. So 76 members of the senior class received a letter from SUNY telling them that they're in the top 10% of their class and that they will get acceptance to at least one SUNY campus. The cutoff was 97.55 cumulative average. These were students who were all graduating with advanced Regents diplomas or had at least an 1100 SAT, a 23 ACT, or 2 AP exams of 3+. So I've already been in touch with those students. If they have any questions about it, they can reach out to me. Okay, next. Okay, now deadlines. Keep going. You can look these up on Naviance. They come in different flavors, okay? There's regular deadlines, which are like a hard deadline. Okay, so for example, CUNY's hard deadline is February 1st. That means if you apply to CUNY before February 1st, you have a chance of getting a seat at one of the CUNYs. If you apply after February 1st, you're going to have a really hard time finding a seat at one of the more popular CUNYs. There's also something called rolling admission. So that means that the freshman class is filled as qualified people apply. So there's no hard deadline. Like they don't like stop reading them after a certain point. But if you apply earlier in the process, like let's say before Thanksgiving, you will have an easier time getting into that school than if you wait until, let's say, April to apply to that school, because at that point you're fighting for the last few seats. Now, some special programs might have earlier deadlines. So for example, the Macaulay Honors Program has a hard deadline of November 15th. You will not be able to submit that application if you are even like 1 minute late past November 15th. The Wagner College PA program has a hard deadline of December 1st. Pace University Dance Program has a hard deadline of December 1st. It's so important that if you're looking at special programs, you're checking to see if they have a special deadline, because the college itself, like for example, Pace, might have a later regular deadline, but this particular dance program is due by December 1st because they're doing auditions. So you have to go in and do your research. Now, some schools do offer early action or early decision. Early action and early decision are basically early admissions. Not every school has this, okay? An earlier deadline means you have to have all the pieces of the application ready by that deadline. So like say November 1st. But you also find out a lot earlier if you got accepted. So with Binghamton, for example, with their November 1st early action deadline, you might find out before Christmas if you got accepted. And it can give a slight boost to your application because it does indicate interest to the college. Early action is non-binding. You can apply to multiple schools early action. You can accept other offers. Early decision is binding. There is a contract. You, the student, have to sign, the parent has to sign, and I have to sign it. That contract says, if I get into this early decision school, I must attend it. And I agree to withdraw all my other applications. So that means you need to make sure that the financial aid is going to work out for you. So if you have questions about how you do that, I'm happy to meet with the student and talk to them about it. You cannot apply to more than one school early decision, and you need to be really sure about this. Okay, so it is a very serious thing. It is not something to go into lightly. Okay, next. All right, now, when a student hits submit, their part ends, my part begins. So you can't like hit the button the day that it's due and expect that their stuff from the school is going to magically get there on time. I am one person, all right? And my staff, like they're great, but there was like 2 of them. We work only during school hours. So we need at least a week's cushion before the college's deadlines. So for example, if it's due on November 1st, I'm going to need you to submit it and then notify me on Naviance by October 21st. If it's due on January 1st, and a lot of schools are due January 1st, I need you to let me know by December 16th. And the reason for that extra big cushion is because we don't work over the break. I don't live at the school. So you need to make sure that you are taking those deadlines into account. I'm not going to drop everything just because you procrastinated. I'm going to do this fairly, and I'm going to make sure that I am processing applications in the order that people notified me and submitted. Okay, next. Now, do you qualify for a fee waiver? You may remember from that page where we were researching Binghamton, that Binghamton had a $50 application fee. You can qualify for fee waivers if your income allows you to do so. So this is what the chart looks like that we use. And to prove that you do qualify for this, you're going to send me, I think you can go to the next page. You can go to the next page. There. To prove that you fit the chart, you can email a screenshot or a photo of the first page of the 2023 federal tax form to my email. You can also send me a screenshot if you want to text it to me. It's the page that has the number of household members and the adjusted gross income on line 11. Go ahead and black out the social security numbers. I don't need to know that. I just need to see how many people are in the household what's the adjusted gross? That's what I use to check against that chart. Okay. So if a student had an appointment with me in the past, have them look at the next steps email that I sent them, because I always said if they qualified for a fee waiver or not. Okay. And again, if they're not sure, they can show me this info and I can tell them. Okay, next. And if you don't fit the chart, like I said, you can wait for the free application week for SUNY for submitting. You can ask college reps for a fee waiver code when you go to any open houses, fairs, or visits. And sometimes you can do something as basic as just call the college's admissions office and see if they have an admissions code. It's one of those things where if you don't ask, you don't get, but it can save you hundreds of dollars in the meantime. Go ahead. All right. Now, I told seniors today that they should have made sure that they verbally asked 2 of their junior teachers for recs. If those junior teachers said yes, go ahead. They're going to add the recommenders to Naviance. This gives the recommenders the ability to upload their letters into the system. Okay, students do not read the letters. Only I read the letters. It's a privacy thing. I read the letters, and if the teachers want to share the letters with the kids, they can, but usually we don't. I choose which letters go to the colleges, and the students would get to this page by going to the colleges tab and then going to letters of recommendation. Okay, next. The last thing that they do for the recommendations is they go to wagnerhigh.net, or they can go to this this particular website. I tried to give you like a short code just to get in. These are the Google Docs for the teachers. So this Google Rec form, it basically just asks the student to talk a little bit about what their time in that teacher's class was like. What were they proud of? What obstacles did they overcome? What do they remember about the class? This is really helpful because when the teachers are writing the recommendations, sometimes they need a little bit of extra material to use in the letter. So they'll go back to the rec form and look at what the student wrote and maybe pull some stuff from that to use in their letter. Okay, so it's very helpful for the students to do this. Okay, next. And I said to the students today that they should be working on their college essay, AKA the personal statement. So I have tips and topics in that link right there. I mentioned that English teachers are available in the school library during lunch periods. So students can go there to show the teachers a copy of their essay. And I have a former student who's now a 3rd year at Barnard College. She's pre-med and somehow she has the time. I don't know when she sleeps, but Amna is volunteering to help students with their college essays and also any questions that they might have about college as well. So she's got a little Google form herself, and she'll contact students after they fill that out. Okay, next. So to start the applications, remember I said we're going to do the CUNY application with the college office staff in the government classes. Now, over 1,100 other colleges have their applications on commonapp.org. So not every school in the country uses Common App. Like I just said, CUNY doesn't use it, but most other colleges do. A handful of other schools use their own internal applications. So for example, University of Texas, California State System, they have their own application. That's fine. But I would suggest if your schools are on Common App, just do the applications on Common App. So for example, if you're going to apply to Wagner College, Pace University, and Long Island University, Brooklyn, all 3 of those local schools have applications on Common App. They're on Common App. They do also have their own internal application, but there's no benefit to using the college's own application. Using Common App is way easier because it streamlines the process. You're just doing one application, and then you're telling Common App, all right, send it to these 3 different schools. It makes keeping track of everything a lot easier. Okay, next. So when a student does the Common App, you can see this is me going into my little fake account. You're doing the main Common App first, okay? And you're working through those sections on the left. You're trying to get a green check for each of those sections. You get the green check by answering all the mandatory questions. Mandatory questions are marked with a red asterisk, okay? So you can see that the first name question is mandatory. The last name question is mandatory. But you know what's not mandatory? Your middle name. So if you get stuck on a question, you can just move on if it is not a mandatory question. Okay, next. Okay, also in the profile section, there's a question about the Common App fee waiver. You should only say yes if I approved you, okay? And again, like I said, you're gonna prove that income by showing me the taxes. There's a bullet point here that says, oh, if you qualify for free lunch, here's the thing, everybody in New York City qualifies for free lunch. You're not all getting fee waivers, okay? It's income-based. And the reason why I don't just give everyone fee waivers is because if a college realizes that you said you qualified for a fee waiver, but actually your income is way above the average, they're gonna delay the processing of your action, and they're gonna charge you for the missing application fee. So all you've done is just delayed things by lying. All right. Again, only say yes if I have approved you. All right. Next. Next page. Okay, thank you. So we're in the grades section. This is a part that trips people up. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you, am I in the right? Oh, okay. I'm in the right one. So nope, go back one, please. There. So the only thing you have to answer in the grade section is the one mandatory question, which is the class size. Okay. I've given you an earmark, a bookmark of 750 for right now. That's not the exact right number, but when I send the school forms, I will send the updated number, and I will update them on the stuff about ranking, about your average, all of that other stuff. I will fill that out when I send the school forms. I promise. Okay. Just do that one question about the class size and move on. Okay, next. Under testing, I highly recommend, unless you have an insanely high score, I highly recommend that you say no to the question that asks you if you want to talk about your scores. Okay. The reason is, even if you're planning on taking an upcoming SAT, you may end up getting a score that you don't want to send. But if you say yes to this question, now the college is waiting for you to send them your new scores. Say no. And then if by the grace of God, you magically happen to get an amazing score that you want to tell the college about, notify you can say, hey, I want to send you my scores. They're amazing. Here they are. Okay. And if you don't do so great on the SAT, you can just pretend it didn't happen if it was a test optional school. Okay. Next. Okay. In the activities section, I recommend that you fill this out carefully, that you check spelling, that you check that you put in details. I recommend that you provide details, you discuss any special things that you did, and give some context. So for example, in this example that I'm giving you, this person was a member of a club, and I didn't just say member of club, 10th grade. I said member of club. I said that you performed for 900 people. I said that you performed at local cultural festivals, and that you mentored underclassmen, right? So you want to talk up the things that you did. Don't downplay them. Okay, next. All right, now on the Common App, right? After you filled out the main Common App, you can add schools to your dashboard. This is how you get the Common App to how you send the Common App to the college. Okay, so you're going to add your schools. Okay, next. And then for each individual school, you're going to answer the questions for that school. So that's where you're going to answer stuff like, what's your major at this particular school? Okay. When you do the main Common App, you're going to realize they're not asking me about my major. But then when you get to the questions for each individual school, that's where you're going to see the information about, am I dorming at this school? Am I going to a particular campus? All right. So for this one, for example, you can see that I put Long Island University. Now, don't be thrown by the fact that the main campus is what's listed here, because when you get into the questions, you're going to see that you can choose the campus. So you can see that you can choose Long Island University, Old Westbury, or Long Island University, Brooklyn. Same thing goes for PACE. When you fill out the Common App for PACE, it's going to ask you, are we doing Westchester or are we doing New York City? Okay. Next. Okay, this is super, super, super important. You cannot move forward with this until you do the FERPA for at least one school. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you just like flip back one more? Go back one. Okay, I just wanted to point out. So if you look on the left, you can see it says, nope, nope. Go back to that page. Nope, the Long Island University page. We were just there. Go forward two. There, stop. Okay, so look on the left. See where it says Long Island University and then it says questions? Look right under that. It says recommenders and FERPA. That's the part I'm talking about right now. Okay, so you can go to the next slide. The FERPA stands for, it's the family, it's basically the freedom of, sorry, I'm really blanking. It's releasing your private information. Okay. So you're basically saying that you allow the school, and I'm the representative of the school, to send your private records, your transcripts, right, and your recommendations to the colleges. So you have to say yes to that part. And then they ask you, do you waive your rights or do you not waive your rights? You're allowed to say yes or no. I do want to point out, though, that if you say that yes, you want to waive your rights, it implies that your recommendation letters are truthful and not influenced by you standing over your teacher's shoulder. Okay, so you have to fill this part out before you can move forward with anything. Okay, next. Now you're able to match your Common App to Naviance. So in Naviance, in colleges I'm applying to, you're going to see this pink banner at the top. You click on match. Okay, next. And now the Common App basically populates your Naviance with the list of schools that you're applying to. This is how you tell me that you applied. Okay, I don't need an email. I don't need a text. I don't need you to stop in and tell me. All I need is for you to do this. All right. You get the schools on there. You tell me how you applied. You tell me what term you're applying for. Are we doing early? Are we doing regular? And you're going to click the button that says that you submitted. Okay, next. I will be able to see that you applied. You will show up on my list of students who applied. And then if you look at the part that I circled there, when it says submitted, you will know that you're now showing up on my list. When it says initial materials submitted, that's how you know I sent my part. Okay, next. After you've applied to your schools, you need to check the student portals for missing materials. So basically every college that you apply to will send you a link for whatever they're calling their student portal. Okay, so for example, CUNY calls it CUNY First, right? So you're gonna have to make a new password and a new username. So you better find a place to keep all your passwords and usernames. I do not recommend that you automatically save them on your desktop at home, because the problem with that is when you come into the college office to talk to me about a problem, you will not know how to get into that website and you will spend 20 minutes of your life trying to reset your password. So write it down, put it in the notes app of your phone, take a picture of it, something, okay? Put it in a notebook that you keep locked and like close to your heart. Put it somewhere that you're going to easily be able to access these passwords, okay? In that portal, that's when you're going to see stuff that is missing, that is holding up your application, all right? This one, for example, shows that you're missing a self-reported academic record. Quite a few schools use this to process the applications. That means you're going to need a transcript that you can get from your NYC Students account or your guidance counselor, and you will need to go through that transcript and enter all your grades in for that school. Okay, NYU does this, Penn State does it, Binghamton does it. Be aware of this before you start applying to these schools. Okay, next. People have asked me about sending extra materials. So once you've submitted your application, if you want, you can email or mail your college extra material, like your resume. You can send supplemental recommendations from a coach or a volunteer or a supervisor or an outside music teacher. In the email, include a note asking them to attach it to your application. You have to include your full name, your date of birth, and if they give you an ID number, you include that there as well, okay? This should be fine as long as you get the material there before the college's application deadline. Okay, next. If you plan on playing NCAA Division I or II in college, these are important instructions. All right, next. If you're thinking about trade schools versus colleges, that's something that I can help you figure out. So I describe the difference between trade schools and college. Go ahead, next. I do have, so trade schools include things like allied health schools, cosmetology, union training, culinary, stenography. I have a whole guide for this posted on the senior Google Classroom. I have a whole guide of like local stuff that has to do with trade. Okay, next. All right. We will talk more about financial aid at the Financial Aid Virtual Info Night on October 16th. Again, we will record it and we will send it out so that the kids can view it in their classes. Okay, you cannot do financial aid now. It is not open for your class yet. If you go to the FAFSA website, the thing that you'll see is not for the current seniors. It's for the current freshmen and people in college. Okay. What you can do right now is create an FSA ID for yourself and one for your parent. All right, next. Scholarships. Parents can check with their employer or their union. And I have a whole list of scholarships available on Naviance. Next. Okay, and they're located in the colleges tab under scholarships. If you saw me for a visit, for a college appointment, I probably put together a whole curated list of scholarships based on your interests. If you click on the heart that says favorite scholarships, you'll see that list. Okay, next. And this is what the scholarships look like when you see them in list form. Next. And this is what it looks. Basically, you just get more information about the scholarship. And if it's something you want to do, you click on the apply button and it'll take you to their website. Next. And if you provide me with a resume detailing your total number of community service hours, we can discuss you when the senior awards committee meets. Okay. I do have a sample resume and a community service directory available on the senior class Google Classroom. Okay, next. Yes. If your name is one thing, but your legal name is another, this is really important. Next. You need to always use the same name. The name that's on your transcript and your SAT score reports and your college applications, it needs to match what's on your social security card. It needs to match what's on your green card. It needs to match what's on your college applications. You can delay your applications majorly if you're applying under one name, but your transcript says something else. So you need to make it all consistent. If you have questions about how this works, you can always stop in the office and talk to Ms. Clemente and she'll tell you more. Next. Okay, the number one tip I have for my seniors is they've got to check their email. Parents can send me an email to get on my mailing list, but I do advise you to add me to your address book so I don't get bounced to spam. I send emails two ways. Sometimes I'll send them through my DOE email, which is the J O'Connell 2. And sometimes I send them through Naviance. So that'll look like mailer@naviance.com. Colleges are going to be contacting you via email and text. And they're really annoyed when they're sending out constant emails and you're not responding. So be consistent about the email that you're using. For colleges, try to use the same professional looking email the whole time. I would advise you not to apply with NYC students because the security features can sometimes keep people from being able to respond to you. I would recommend that you use your personal email as long as it is professional looking. So I've had colleges contact me because they couldn't get through to the student. They'll say, I have an important question about the student's application. I can't get them to respond to me. Or I'm trying to contact the student. Oh, I had Harvard contacted me because they couldn't contact this one kid for his interview. And needless to say, he did not get in. Okay, so you've got to be proactive about checking your email. Next. Yes, it is very important that kids keep their grades up because a lot of schools will ask for the report card, the first marking period report card, and pretty much everyone asked me for the fall term grades. Okay, so keep it together. Next. Again, this is the senior class Google Classroom. Please join, students. All right, parents, don't worry. We will continue to send you the same information via email and text. And lastly, that's right. Here we are. Okay, it will be over before you know it. I promise. So continue to reach out to me and my staff with questions. And I hope you have a great senior year. Thanks.